And it's like those kind of questions that go in and it's like, should I ask?
Yeah.
Is it wrong?
Yeah.
Am I going to make them feel? Yeah. Are they not? Are they going to hate me?
Yes.
They're not going to have my child anymore?
Yes, that's the biggest fear. Welcome to a new season of TheraBytes. Today, to kick off our new season, Season 3, we thought we'd do a bit of a recap on our favourite episodes of 2024. To do this, of course, we have brought back the first co-host of this podcast, Noraishah. Welcome back, Noraishah.
Thank you, Kate.
It's so great to have you back in the studio. How does it feel?
Refreshing.
Yeah.
But it feels like old times. It's easy.
That's so good.
It's good to have you back in the guest seat as well.
I know, I feel so special.
I love
VIP.
it. Yeah, it's so good. And I love the idea of like recapping on 2024 because we had 2 seasons. Both of you are involved in both of the seasons. We covered a lot of topics.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. So here we go.
Yes. Dayna, thank you so much for another incredible season. And a huge thank you to all of the listeners out there for your feedback and your questions. So thank you for listening. Thank you for providing those.
And thank you for waiting for the new season to come out.
Yes. We needed a rest.
Yes.
And now we're back and reinvigorated.
Great content for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Noraishah, let's start with you. So season 1 covered off on so many important topics. Do you think you had a favourite episode?
Favourite episode.
Isn't that so hard?
Yeah. Who do you love more and why?
Right. I'd say the first one would be probably the treatment bubble.
Okay, yeah.
Just knowing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I always think of it as a bubble now because it's in my head.
The bubble chart.
Yeah, the bubble chart.
Yes.
And it's like, it's there, it's in front of you, and it's like, with CP or cerebral palsy, it's like, it's the unknown. It changes with time, right?
Yeah.
And, it evolves and every child is different. Yes, it's a blanket. Yeah, the child has cerebral palsy. But when you look at every child that walks through the doors, they all are different.
Yeah.
Right? And they all have their own little spark.
Yes.
But, on a serious matter, they're all different, right?
Yeah.
So I always, get encaptured by the treatment bubble in the fact that I remember way back when my parents said to me, Noraishah, take your child back to Malaysia or in the Asian countries. There's that massage. There's special people that can do this and do that and do this. And it's like, I addressed that with Dayna one time and she did. That's how I was introduced to the bubble the first time, right? But not in depth and I didn't realise it, right?
Yes.
And as much as the reason why I raised that question was I'm thinking, does really massage work? I mean, what are we doing?
Yes.
What? I mean, yes, we're massaging the muscles, but functionality-wise, later down the track, how does that impact the child?
Yeah.
Can they do anything? Can it do anything? Right?
Yeah.
So yes, that's why that interests me. And then now, like I said, with all the different child that walks through the door, they all need different things, right?
Yes.
And to have that bubble to refer to is just amazing.
It is,
That's
isn't
what
it?
I think.
You just almost need like something a bit more concrete sometimes. Otherwise it's this airy fairy land. Like, oh, you could do this.
Yep.
You could do that. You could get this result.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a lot more like, if you do this is the kind of results you might see.
Yeah.
And for them, I remember that conversation. Oh my God, that was so long ago. But I remember going, it might feel nice, but you're not actually going to learn the skill.
Exactly what you said.
Is that what I said? Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So,
and it's helpful for that
implanted.
conversation, isn't it?
Correct.
Where you go, okay, they're different. So how does this child match with this intervention? Like you still need to work it out because there's actually a lot of great options out there.
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
And can you imagine if we had spent, like, if you think about the flip side, imagine if you had spent those hours doing massage instead of learning these new skills.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that could have looked like? Like in terms of the exchange of time, you would have done something completely different.
Correct.
And not use that time the way that
that
we
it
have.
should be.
Yeah,
I could
that's
waste
right.
time, right?
In those early intervention years.
Yeah,
so
important years.
I think it comes down to the fact that you asked really good questions. That was like you're ticking along on that one going,
thank you.
You know, that's such a good one.
That's right. So that's one.
Bubble chart. I love it. Yep.
And number 2, I thought diagnosis.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the original to everything, the origins of everything, right? And I thought that was scary when I was faced with that.
Yes.
But when we discussed through it, I thought, well, diagnosis, yes, you know what the answer is. I mean, you know what what's the word? You know what it is.
What you're
right?
dealing with in a way.
And what it was caused by.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you take that and you move along and you find the way in order to work the best the child can be, right?
Yep.
Again, the child is different.
Yep. You can
unique in
throw
its
out
own
things
way.
that are irrelevant.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
And just
Right?
concentrate on the things that probably will be relevant.
Correct.
Otherwise,
Yep.
it's too much information.
That's right. So it's not as daunting anymore. It's more something that you just accept
Yeah.
and look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Or try and look on the bright side. Sometimes it's a bit grey, but sooner or
hard.
later you'll get there,
It's
right?
those moments.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
So that's number 2.
Great.
Number 3 would probably be the definitions of the
Oh, like with tone and stuff.
Yes,
yeah?
correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And depending on my child, it was more of the dystonia and the spasticity, which affects him on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So finding what it is
Yeah.
and how we deal with that
Yes.
gives him the best life.
Yeah.
All right. And then another one was the equipment and motivation to move. And that brings me back to his first foam wheelchair when he was introduced to that. It was like, that was like a very sad but happy moment to realise. But at the time, I didn't realise that was great for his motivation. I didn't even realise that he could have been motivated at that time to want to move straight away, right?
Yep.
So, and now his life is full of equipment, but it makes him be who he is.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah, they
so
facilitate him. They don't hold him
Correct.
back. Which I think at the beginning you always think equipment holds you back.
Yes,
And
it's hard to accept sometimes.
It is,
But then once you realise, like when you first see a child in the world, you're like, oh my God, this is helping them so much more.
Yes,
This is amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
And when your back gives way and you realise you can't carry them anymore, you can't just do all that.
I'm just getting there.
You have to get to that point where you go, actually, this is good for them.
Yeah.
And good for us.
And good for us.
But it's a process. But I love that you asked that question. We talked about it so early on. It's a hard place to be and you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Now nearly 9 years, I was like, okay, I understand all those steps that I had to go through to get to where we are.
Yeah.
I mean, the journey hasn't ended yet. The journey is still there.
Yes.
But seeing how far we've come and how much, I don't know, more knowledge that I've gained for myself from my own experience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really nice to share it. In
so
season 1, I was
good.
happy to share that information.
That
and
was
it's
so
great.
good.
It was very helpful.
Yeah. And I think it's when you're looking forward into the future, I think that's a fearful place to be sometimes. It can be exciting but scary. And it takes courage to look at that. But when you have this body of like 9 years of evidence now and you've learned all of this, it kind of gives you that little bit more confidence and courage to face the next few years. And it's probably not going to be that bad. But if you look at it right now, like, without that knowledge, knowledge is its power. Hey, yeah. Oh, those were good episode
really
reviews.
good.
I love that. That was really good. Well, Kate, what about you? Did you share some similarities of Noraishah?
Definitely some similarities. I also couldn't nail it down to just one. I really enjoyed the episodes similar to you that explained the dystonia and the spasticity.
Yes.
Very relevant for my child, and the dysphagia. And also helped, I found it really beneficial when explaining his conditions to support workers and education
it became
assistants at
easier,
school.
right?
Yeah, I think I took it all in the early days, but probably didn't register as much because there was so much information happening. And then when you can hear it in like these bite-sized sort of episodes, really simplified, it's a lot easier to take in, to register, and then to sort of regurgitate it and communicate that back in a different way than what I probably would have.
Yeah.
Also, just fantastic that I have this resource now to refer support workers to and refer the education assistants if they haven't had a child with these conditions to be able to say, oh, if you listen to the TheraBytes podcast, it's actually a really great, simple explanation of it and how it can affect my child.
Yeah, I do that to the school staff too.
Oh,
the
that's
EAs
so
and stuff.
good.
It's like,
because
It's
they're
a
often
really good
they
resource.
care and they want to know more
that's
information.
right.
So where
They
do
wanna
you
help.
Everyone
start?
wants to know. That's what I find. You mention it and you're like, how do we find it?
and you always go, it's not that long. Just, it takes about 15, 20 minutes. And it's easy language English to understand. So it's
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's
I like
amazing how with those, like you've both brought that up now, of dystonia and spasticity, and as an allied health professional or anyone that's in health, like those words often get thrown out there.
Yes.
And I remember being in those
Yes.
clinics and like the words we've thrown out there and the parents would be like, dystonia, what? And then how's that different to spasticity?
Yes.
And the Botox is for what?
Yes.
And like, oh,
100%.
how is that hypertonia or hypotonia, right?
Yeah.
And so you just, I think when you have that knowledge, you can ask really good questions,
Yes.
like in all your appointments.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's helpful because, yes, it's just medical jargon, but I think having, again, knowledge is power,
Yeah,
like being
knowledge
able
is
to talk
power, for
about
sure.
it.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
Good.
that.
I like those reflections. Those are good episodes.
That was
Yeah.
only season 1. Now we're going to talk about season 2. There's so much that we've learned and covered off on. Noraishah, another tough one.
Top one.
Any standouts from season 2?
My favourite top one, I guess from the first time I heard it anyway, was the F words.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So good. I love that. And we're going to park that one a little bit because we're going to talk about that. But I love that you
correct.
spoke about F words. It's like one of my
Yes.
favourite things too. Couldn't tell. Yeah.
And the other one was, I know that it was okay to ask for a second opinion.
Yes.
I thought that's like, I've always wanted to know how to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm scared to ask, but and especially when you're like confronted. I mean, I know your session discussed being in the ED. I've never been in that situation, but yet at the same time, when you go through therapists and stuff and you go, okay, is that right or wrong?
Yeah.
Should I do it? Should I not?
Yes.
Should I keep going? And it's like those kind of questions that go in and it's like, should I ask?
Yeah.
Is it wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I going
Will I
to make
annoy
them
someone?
feel? Yeah. Are they not going? Are they going to hate me? They're not going to help my child anymore?
Yes, that's the biggest fear.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
I love how the
People's
brain
feelings,
goes
right?
Yeah. This person's trying to help me. I don't want to annoy them. Or,
Correct. Yeah, so that was one.
Yeah.
The
That's
other
such a
thing
good one.
was screen time, obviously.
Yes.
My son loves his iPad.
Yeah.
So in his rest time, his iPad's the first thing to go. To pick up, so he watches through that. So
And
that was
that's
nice to
good,
know.
And it's okay to know that too.
Yeah,
isn't
correct.
it?
Helps that mum guilt immensely.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it's observing. I mean, I always keep an eye on him and what he watches anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've got the kids' YouTube. Like the minute I heard kids' YouTube existed, I said, okay, that's it. Switched on to kids'
Thank
YouTube. So
goodness.
it's been all on that.
Good.
But he's very creative. So he learns, I want him to he loves guitar playing. So he sits there and plays his guitar. And then I see how interested he is on the kids' YouTube, right, watching. And I said, would you like me to organise a tutor for you? No, Mum. I'm good with the YouTube. With the kids' tube. I said, that's good. You're saving me funds.
So clever. Yeah. Okay. I'll take it.
So I'll go with that.
So funny.
Correct. And the other one was daycare and school. I know you mentioned your daycare.
Yeah.
Set it up for your child.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. We didn't go through daycare, but we did go through kindy.
Yes.
Yep.
From kindy to prep, I think.
Yeah.
And prep, when they accepted him, they go, he's the first child on a wheelchair. We've never had a child before that has his condition and so forth. And they just basically went through, I think, the educational system and got some funding, got the whole
like ramps and stuff.
Correct, ramps all set in, the toilets all organised, and they even got the playground all cemented
That's
so that he
amazing.
could access,
Everything.
Yeah,
Wow,
everything
what
they
an
could possibly
incredible
do.
school.
So it's amazing, right? I
Yeah.
didn't think. I mean, that was the school that I went to. My siblings went to. My whole family went to.
So it's been that way for a long time.
No, it hasn't. It was like, just normal school.
Yeah.
And then, to have my child go there and then they make the effort to revamp everything. It's like, okay, this was the good school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That speaks to community. It just tells you
It
who
does.
are your people.
Yeah.
And
They really care, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because, like having a kid who spends that much time at school around people who actually genuinely care about their success.
It's nice to know.
Yeah, and it's worth finding.
Yeah.
Like it's worth seeking out because otherwise it's a battle and you don't want that.
No.
Yeah. And that's, because mine were probably exactly the same, the daycare and the starting school episodes. And probably for those same reasons, I guess because it was so relevant to us at the time. But also, I think just because I wish I knew that information prior, same with you, like at least I'm hoping that by sharing our stories,
that's right.
that people will know what that expectation is. So they're not, if they do go to a school or a daycare and it isn't accommodating and it's not inclusive, then they know that there are places out there and they're not stuck just having to deal with that.
That's right.
They know, okay, well, this place isn't for us because there's plenty of places out there that will do the right thing by our family and our child. And I think that's so important because, as I said, I just had no idea what to expect.
Of course not.
Same.
First time. Yeah, there's a lot to explore and understand. And, and you know, you're so used to hearing, like, you know, hearing what doctors say or whatever it might be. You just, because you're receiving information so much, you just agree. You just go, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then you find yourself in a school situation where something might not be going so well and you're like, it's not okay.
That's right.
And can I speak up there as well? And I think you guys both sharing your stories is so immensely generous, but it helps people to kind of go, what is acceptable? So it's brilliant. Yeah.
I think so.
So good.
That's the plan.
I mean, that was my purpose in joining, right?
I love that.
Helping out. And
I love
it's like,
that.
it's nice to know that, you know, it's worth something, the stories that we share, right?
Absolutely.
So,
No, and it takes such generosity to do that. Well, okay, I'm going to circle back now because, you know, my eyes lit up as soon as you said F words, favourite thing. Now, because it is not just my favourite, but I'm so glad you said it as well. And there's been a lot of talk around F words because it's quite new for a lot of people. And I just see it's so relevant because I think we talk about it so naturally. Like in your situation, who are your friends and family? What's the future? And we sort of map it out for each person individually. So what we thought for this season is we're going to talk about each of the F words, just delve into it in more detail and then talk to different people, parents, children, young adults who have gone through the process and ask them about those for the F words because I think it's time to delve into that more. And it's just my favourite topic. So I love that was one of your favourites. And I saw, you know, the minute you sort of said that, I was like, okay, I think this is relevant for so many people because we need to see our children as individuals who are going to grow up to become adults and all you want for them is to live their best life. And if we see them through F words rather than through the medical model, they have the best chance of doing that. So I think we might get you back if that's okay, Noraishah, to talk about some of the F words. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
All right, well, back into the studio. That's fantastic. And so for everyone who's listening, hopefully that catches a bit of a glimpse into what we'll be talking about this whole season. So stay tuned. We'll introduce the first F word to you soon, and they're all kind words, just in case you haven't heard all the F words yet. I feel like I probably need to say it's kind words. And hopefully they'll be really relevant for you. So send in questions or things that you have along the way about the F words, and we'll start with that next week. But for now, thank you so much, Noraishah.
Thank you, Noraishah.
It's all right.
Loved it. We will talk to you again soon. All of our listeners. Talk to you again soon.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, guys.